Yes, chapter 2, Organs. 126. In the Garden of Eden lay Adam, complacently stroking his madam, and loud was his mirth, for on all of the earth there were only 2 balls, and he had 'em. Oh, excuse me, 1941, I'm gaseous. Oh, it's the beer. It's very burpy. Yes. Here we go with 127. There was a young bride of Antigua, whose husband said, "Dear me, how big you are." Said the girl, "What damned rot! Why, you've often felt my twat, my legs and my arse and my figure." 1880. They were so naughty back then. 128. There was a young damsel named Baker, who was poked in a pew by a Quaker. He yelled, "My God, what do you call this? A twat?" Oh, here we go. Let's do it again. There was a young damsel named Baker, who was poked in a pew by a Quaker. He yelled, "My God, what do you call this a twat? Why, the entrance is more than an acre." 1943. 129. There once was a mechanic named Bench, whose best tool was a sturdy gut wrench. With this vibrant device he could reach in a trice the innermost parts of a wench. The innermost parts of a wench. 1943. Hey! 130. There was a young man of Bengal who swore he had only 1 ball, but 2 little bitches unbuttoned his breeches and found he had no balls at all. Poor lad. 1870 to 1941. 131. A chippy who worked in Black Bluff had a pussy as large as a muff. It had room for both hands and some intimate glands, and was soft as a little duck's fluff. Oh, sounds nice. 132. Oh, that was 1942, in case you're wondering. A. There was a young lady named Blunt who had a rectangular cunt. She learned for diversion posterior perversion, since no one could fit her in front. Oh, that's fine and dandy. Yes. A rectilinear vaginia. 1943A. 133. There was a young fellow named Bowen, whose pecker kept growing and growing. It grew so tremendous, so long, and so pendulous, 'twas no good for fucking, just showing. Well, at least he had that. 1945. See? 134. There was a young lady named Brent, with a cunt of enormous extent. And so deep and so wide, the acoustics inside were so good you could hear when you spent. That's funny. 135. There was a young girl from the Bronx who had a vagina of onyx. She had so much saurus with her clitoris, she traded it in for a Packard. It doesn't even rhyme. But a Packard is a lovely car, so we'll accept that. 1943C. 136. There was a young lady from Brussels who was proud of her vaginal muscles. She could easily plex them and so interflex them as to whistle love songs through her bustles. Bully for her. 1941A to 1942. 137. There was a young lady of Bood who walked down the street in the nude. A bobby said, "What a magnificent bottom," and slapped it as hard as he could. 1938. Jolly good. Nothing better than slapping a bottom. 138. There once was a queen of Bulgaria, whose bush had grown hairier and hairier, till a prince from Peru, who came up for a screw, had to hunt for her cunt with a terrier. That's good. It's not a rat terrier. It's a cunt terrier. 1938. 139. There was a young girl of Kalina, had a very capricious vagina. To the shock of the fucker, 'twould suddenly pucker and whistle the chorus of Dinah. 1941. Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Someone's in the kitchen, I know. Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. How wonderful. 140. A lady with features cherubic was famed for her area pubic. When they asked her its size, she replied in surprise, "Are you speaking of square foot or cubic?" 1941. It's very mathematic. 141. There was a fat lady of China who'd a really enormous vagina. And when she was dead, they painted it red and used it for docking a liner. Jolly good, 1941. 142. I met a young man in Chongqing who had a very long thing. But you'll guess my surprise when I found that its size just measured a third finger ring. 1945. 143. There was a young man of Koblenz whose bollocks were simply immense. It took 44 draymen, a priest, and 3 laymen to carry them thither and thence. 1941. 144. There was an old man of Connaught whose prick was remarkably short. When he got into bed, the old woman said, "This isn't a prick, it's a wart." 1879. Oh, I'm getting tired. I'm not sure why. Pardon my squeaky chair. 145. There once was a girl from Cornell whose teats were shaped like a bell. When you touched them, they shrunk, except when she was drunk, and then they got bigger than hell. Ooh, good, I like that. 1939, eh? 146. There once was a lady of Crete, so enormously broad in the beam, that one day in the ocean she caused such commotion that Admiral Byrd claimed her for America. America. 1946. If you look up Admiral Byrd, I'm sure there will be a historical reference that will clarify the humor of that limerick. 147. There was a young fellow named Cribbs, whose cock was so big it had ribs. They were inches apart, and to suck it took art, while to fuck it took 42 trips. Tribs. 1944 to 19... A penis or a cock with ribs. My, that is a large structure. 148. There was a young lady whose cunt could accommodate a small punt. Her mother said, "Annie, it matches your fanny," which never was that of a runt. 1941. 149. There's a young Yiddish slut with 2 cunts, whose pleasure in life is to prunce. When one Pyrrhig is shot, there's that alternative twat, but the ausgefugt male merely grunts. I doubt I'm pronouncing that right. 1941. All right, we'll end on this. 150. There was a young man from Dallas who had an exceptional phallus. He couldn't find room in any girl's womb without rubbing it first with Vitalis. Oh, that's good. Lovely. 1946. It's a pleasure to end on a lovely, funny, rhyming limerick. Vitalis. Yes, you don't hear of Vitalis much anymore. Yes. I believe it was a hair gel, a tonic. All right, yes, everybody as you were.